Today we're looking at the Sandmarc Tetraprism lens. What is that? Well, it's basically a telephoto for your iPhone's telephoto. I've made several videos about this type of lens, starting with ReeFlex and then Shiftcam, and now I'm looking at Sandmarc's version. This style of lens is one of my favorite lenses to use with an iPhone. Not only do you get a very long telephoto shot, but you can also get nice shallow depth of field. So how does the Sandmarc compare? So I've got an iPhone 17 Pro Max here using a Sandmarc case, and I've got it on a B-Script Pro and a little small rig tripod. None of that really matters except for the case, because the Sandmarc lens is a 17mm mount lens, and so you've got to have a case to use it, or a cage. The good thing is 17mm mount today is more or less universal. So the lens comes with a back cap, which is great, and also comes with a fairly sturdy front cap. And then it's just a screw-on mount. Easily screws right on the telephoto, and now you're ready to shoot. One thing I want to show though is how much bigger this lens is compared to the ones I've tested before, and that's the ReeFlex. Here's the ReeFlex and the Shiftcam. Interestingly, this one weighs about 140 grams, the ReeFlex weighs about 90 grams, and the Shiftcam weighs about, I think, 105 grams or so. And so by a pretty good margin, the ReeFlex is the lightest, and it definitely feels that way on the camera. And the opposite of that is the Sandmarc feels a little bit on the heavy side. So the iPhone alone weighs about 220 grams, give or take. The case will add another 40, 50 grams. And so it starts getting a little bit heavy, not heavy overall, don't get me wrong, but just compared to using like the ReeFlex, for example. Not a huge deal, but just something I want to show in the comparison. And so now we'll look at the actual size. You can see that the Sandmarc is also just taller too. It's just overall a bigger lens. Again, for some people that won't matter. For some people that may matter, especially if you're doing any kind of travel photography or video. The lighter ones do, feel better, especially if you're just using a case. If you're putting this on a cage, it doesn't matter at all. But if you're putting this on a case and you're carrying it with you, doesn't sound like a lot, but that can add up. The lens comes with a little carrying bag, also a soft bag the lens goes into, then this bag goes inside, and it has a clip, so you could mount this on any phone, a universal type clip. I say any phone, it's really designed for iPhone, but in case you don't have a case. And inside the bag, there's also a microfiber cleaning cloth. And additionally, there is a quasi lens hood. It's really a filter mount, and it just slides over the top. You just push it on, and now you can add a filter. You can either buy Sandmarc filters or use third-party filters. Really, the best thing is probably use a step-up ring to a larger filter. But the most important question, how does the lens perform? All right, if you've seen any of my previous videos, I like to shoot this sign as it's got text on it, and it's a good way to determine if a lens is sharp or not. Kind of a real world test meets a focus chart, sort of. And so here is the lens on the 4x. And now on the 8x. And then here are the shots compared with the lens and then without the lens, just the native iPhone lens. To my eye shooting right now, it looks sharp, it looks good. Now here's just a really quick comparison between the Sandmarc and the ReeFlex. On the 4x Tele of the iPhone 17 Pro, first using the Sandmarc. And now here is the ReeFlex. The Sandmarc lens is just slightly warmer, and the ReeFlex looks a little more neutral to me. But overall they look really similar and quite good. One interesting thing I'm noticing, and I'm not moving the camera between shots, but the shots do slightly change. And so that likely means the optical center alignment is different, which is not a big deal if you're using the lenses independently, but is something I noticed. So between the ReeFlex and the Sandmarc, it really comes down to preference. They're both around $250. I think the ReeFlex might be a little bit more. They're both 17mm mount, both high quality build. If you want a lighter lens, I would go with the ReeFlex. It's again about 90 grams. If you don't mind the weight, the Sandmarc is about 140-ish grams. And so not quite double, but it is considerably heavier. But again, the image quality between the two, they look great. All the iPhone color grading in this episode was done using my Apple log LUTs. I've got everyday LUTs, film look LUTs, now I also have film grain available too. If you're interested in any of these or the lenses I showed, I've got links in the description. Thanks for watching.